All right, I think we'll go ahead and get started. Welcome to today's webinar. Today we're going to be talking about the OLC BenefitsPool Long-Term Disability Plan, something that's very new and very exciting that we're proud to present to members of the Ohio Library Council. Just a couple of housekeeping notes. First of all, a quick disclaimer about this presentation. It is not meant to be legal advice. It's not meant to be tax advice of any kind, and it's also not meant to be any type of political opinion or endorsement. We had that disclaimer in there as we were talking about healthcare reform earlier on in the year. Probably won't get into a lot of politics as it pertains to long-term disability insurance. My name is Wes Campbell, Vice President here at SIBO. Since 2002, I'm a chartered benefits consultant, and my job here is working with new clients and also looking at product implementation that as we look for new products and services to offer to our clients. And many of you, I work with you on your renewals as well. I have a 5-week-old at home, so I can promise you my picture does not look like that right now. Picture unshaven and hair slightly askew. Just a few more of these webinars throughout the rest of the year. We have recorded all of our previous webinars on topics such as the Affordable Care Act. We also did one on minimum essential coverage. You can find those webinars by going to our YouTube channel, which I think you can just search for the SIBO group. You can also go to our website, which is listed below, and click on resources, and we've uploaded the most recent webinar series events there as well. You can also follow us on social media, both at Facebook, at the address listed there, and Twitter. If you have any questions as we go through this, please just type them into the chat box, and if there are any questions, we'll get to them at the end. So what we're going to talk about here is the OLC BenefitsPool Government Long-Term Disability Plan. And this is a pretty unique product, but also a very simple product to understand, and this webinar won't keep you more than a few minutes here. Some of you may or may not be familiar with disability income through the Ohio Public Employee Retirement System. But there are currently two plans available through OPERS, the original plan for those that were hired before July 29th of 1992, and then the much more common revised plan for those that were hired after July 29th, 1992, or have switched from the original plan to the revised plan. Most of what we'll focus on today will be with the revised plan. But under the original plan, if you became permanently disabled and could not go back to work ever again, you were entitled to income replacement somewhere between 30% and 75%, depending on your years of service. And there was no benefits for those that were in the first 5 years of service. And that benefit was based on your projected years of service to age 60. Under the revised plan, it's a little more simple. It's based simply on your actual years of service, and your benefits range from 45% to 60%. So if you became permanently disabled under the OPERS system, if you're inside of 5 years of service, you receive no benefits. And if you're between 5 years of service and on under the revised plan, you would receive from PERS somewhere between 45% and 60% of your pre-disability earnings. And one of the questions, or one of the comments that was made was, you know, if I'm somebody that's, even if I'm receiving 60% of my pre-disability earnings, that's not a lot to live on for the rest of my life, basically, especially if I'm dealing with a complicated medical issue that would prevent me from earning income and would probably have significant costs associated with it. So as you see in the second category, second bold-faced font there, for those that are participating in PERS, you have to have 5 years of service to qualify for disability retirement, and you have to be unable to perform your own job until the normal retirement age because of a physical or mental disability. And the way they calculate your income replacement is based on your final average salary times the number of years of service, and then times the benefit factor, which is calculated based on your years of service and your the income replacement that you're eligible for. This is what the OPERS disability retirement benefit looks like under both the original and the revised plans currently. So for somebody that has less than 5 years, as we mentioned, there's no benefits that are paid. For those that are in 5 to 10 years in the original plan, you receive a benefit of 30%, 15 years gets you to 33%, 20 years gets you to 44%, and 25 years gets you to 55%. For those that are under the revised plan, those that are in years 5 to 15 receive 45%, year 20 bumps you up to 50%, year 25 bumps you all the way up to 60%. Okay? Now, under a traditional long-term disability policy, you are going to see what we call offsetting, meaning a traditional long-term disability policy that's going to pay typically 60% of your pre-disability earnings is going to offset with whatever you receive from OPERS so that you never receive more than 60%. So you can see for those that are in the first 5 years of service, a traditional long-term disability policy is still going to pay out 60%. But that's going to get reduced based on how much you receive from OPERS. So, for example, if you're somebody that's in the 5 to 15-year window under the revised plan, you're going to receive 45%. A traditional long-term disability policy is only going to pay 15% on top of that to offset so that you're at that 60%. And then, again, that's where that issue of how do I live on 60% of my income for the rest of my life, that's where that issue comes up, was when looking at a traditional long-term disability policy. And that's why most libraries don't really even offer a traditional long-term disability policy, because it just doesn't make sense based on what it costs when you look at what you get out of it. When you're only getting somewhere between, your employees are receiving 60% in their first 5 years of service, but under the revised plan, after 5 years of service, your employees are only receiving a benefit of somewhere between 15% and 0%. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. So, to kind of recap, employees that are not vested in the state plan, meaning don't have 5 years of service, would still receive a 60% benefit under a traditional long-term disability policy. Employees that are vested in the state plan but denied disability would typically also still receive 60% under a long-term disability plan. Meaning just because you don't qualify for benefits under PERS doesn't mean that your disability insurance carrier might not still qualify you. Employees that are vested in the state plan still receive a 60% long-term disability benefit plus whatever they get from PERS. Under our government LTD option through Lincoln Financial, which libraries are eligible for, it will not offset with PERS, but it will coordinate with PERS so that an employee could receive up to 100% of their pre-disability income. And this next chart kind of lays it out. Again, in the first 5 years when you're not eligible for any benefit under PERS, the government plan through Lincoln Financial is going to pay 60%. And then after that point, that Lincoln Financial plan is going to continue to pay 60% up until you reach 100% of your pre-disability earnings. So for those that are in the 5 to 15 years of service under the revised plan, that's probably the most common category, you're going to receive 45% from OPERS under that plan. This Lincoln Financial plan is still going to pay you an additional 55% to take you to 100% of your pre-disability earnings. So those that are in the 20 years of service under the revised plan are going to get 50% from PERS, 50% from Lincoln Financial, and 25 years will get 60% from PERS and 40% from Lincoln Financial. They're never going to take you above 100% of your pre-disability earnings, but they will take you all the way to 100%, and they do so, as you'll see here in a little bit, at a rate that's very affordable. So when you compare the two, a traditional long-term disability plan versus this Lincoln Financial plan, specifically for participants in the public employee retirement system, you can see for those in the first 5 years of service, there's no difference. It's going to be a 60% benefit. But once you've hit that 5-year plateau, this plan is going to pay all the way up to 90% to 93%, and then once we hit 20 years, 100% of your pre-disability earnings. So we find that this is just a fantastic benefit for those that are concerned about income replacement should they become disabled. And keep in mind, the OPERS disability is for disability retirement, meaning you're never going to go back to work ever again. The Lincoln Financial policy works like a traditional policy. If you have somebody that's going to be off of work, say, for 6 months because of an illness or an injury, they would still qualify for benefits under this plan where they're not going to qualify for any benefits under OPERS. So here's an example of a 38-year-old who earns $2,500 a month at a library and started working there at age 30, meaning they have 8 years of service, and they become permanently disabled by an accident. Their disability retirement, calculated under the OPERS revised plan, because they're after that 5 years of service, they have 8 years of service times a 0.022 factor. That's the benefit factor. Times their salary of $2,500 equals $450. The plan minimum for those that have between 5 and 15 years of service is 45%. So 45% of $2,500 is $1,125 in monthly benefit. So somebody under OPERS that's in this scenario that's had 8 years of service is going to look to receive 45% income replacement. As we mentioned before, a traditional long-term disability plan is going to offset with that so that the person never receives more than 60%. So the traditional long-term disability plan is going to pay 15% to take somebody to 60% income replacement. But our government LTD insurance plan through Lincoln Financial is going to make sure that this person who's receiving 45% income replacement from PERS is going to get the other 55% from Lincoln Financial to take them all the way to 100% total income replacement. So if you've ever experienced, if you know someone that has dealt with a permanent disability, somebody that became so injured or so ill that they could never work again, to know that you have 100% of your pre-disability earnings coming in for the rest of your life, all the way to Social Security retirement age, at which point, if you're still disabled, obviously Social Security disability will take over. That's a very comforting feeling. So to kind of recap here, employees with less than 5 years of service will receive a 60% benefit from Lincoln Financial. Employees with more than 5 years will receive a 60% benefit from Lincoln Financial all the way up to 100% of their pre-disability earnings. Employees who do not qualify for state disability retirement under OPERS could still receive a 60% benefit from Lincoln Financial, so a nice perk that just because you may not qualify for OPERS disability, you may still qualify for it under Lincoln Financial's plan. Lincoln Financial also provides benefits for partial disability, meaning if somebody's able to go back to work part-time, they will be able to still receive benefits. Some of the other benefits under the Lincoln Financial program, there is a return to work incentive, meaning that if you're partially disabled, Lincoln Financial will continue to pay benefits all the way to 60%, or if you're in that if you're in that 5 to 15 year window or and above, will continue to pay benefits even if you're returning to work part-time. Well, the partial disability formula means all you have to do is prove income loss of 1% to be considered disabled. So any partial disability would still make you eligible to file a claim. There is an employee assistance program built into this. There's a survivor income benefit, meaning if somebody is on claim and passes away, they will take 3 months worth of payments and pay that out to a beneficiary. There's a vocational rehabilitation benefit, meaning they have programs to help with job training, working on a resume, job-seeking skills, so that you may be able to maybe not go back to work in your previous capacity, but may be able to find other gainful employment and go back to work part-time while still receiving benefits from Lincoln Financial. There's a reasonable accommodation benefit, meaning that they will work with somebody on the claim to install things like ramps in a home if necessary, make adjustments to a cubicle or a workstation. They will make those types of reasonable accommodations to help somebody with their activities of daily living or possibly returning to work on a part-time basis. There is a mental and nervous disorder benefit included as well, so somebody who is dealing with a mental and nervous issue could also be eligible for benefits under this plan. There is a progressive income benefit, which means you're qualified for a benefit of 60% under this plan, up to 60%. If you also have the loss of at least 2 activities of daily living, things like getting dressed, being transported, toileting, so on and so forth, you could actually receive an additional 10% benefit, which would take you to 70%. There's also a family care benefit. It's a $250 a month stipend for family members to help with the care of somebody who is out on a long-term disability claim. So a nice little benefit that's also built in to this policy. This is a completely voluntary benefit, so it does not cost your library anything to offer this benefit. There are 3 plans available. There's a 2-year benefit, a 5-year benefit, and then the most common, which is the benefits are going to be paid under this plan all the way until you reach Social Security normal retirement age. So the employee gets the option of choosing how long do they want to receive benefits for, 2 years, 5 years, or all the way till Social Security normal retirement age. There are no health questions asked. It is guaranteed issue during your library's open enrollment, which you would establish. We find that education is the key to this product. We help that process with personalized enrollment forms, which we'll show you here in a second. But we find that mandatory meetings or mandatory forms being completed is the best way for that to take place. Sorry about that. Need to update iTunes apparently. When we say mandatory forms, we mean collecting forms from those that want to enroll as well as those who are waiving coverage as well. As we mentioned, all employees will be offered a personal information form that includes their current monthly income, their current anticipated personal disability retirement benefit under OPERS, the percentage of income replacement that would represent, what their benefit would be from Lincoln Financial, as well as what the total potential percentage of income replacement would be from the two combined. This is what a sample election form looks like. So as you can see at the top there, the Ohio Public Employee Retirement System disability retirement benefit may not adequately protect you in the event of a disability. Many people believe that they're fully protected by OPERS, but that's really not the case. This shows the example here of 0 to 5 years of service being 0%, 5+ years of service being between 30 and 60% for this person in particular, and 5+ years of service being 0% if the claim gets denied by OPERS. And so as you can see, what Lincoln Financial does is shows you how they will offset in each individual situation for somebody to receive up to 100% of their pre-disability earnings. So for example, we show the current monthly income of $2,856. The anticipated retirement disability would be $1,290 or 45%. This is referring back to that previous example we looked at. The Lincoln Financial Government LTD option is going to provide an additional $1,565 of benefit to this person, taking them all the way to 100% of their pre-disability earnings. So the only thing the employee needs to decide is how long do they want to receive that benefit for? 2 years, 5 years, or 2 Social Security normal retirement age. The rates you can see here were done for a government entity that was actually not a library. These rates are weekly. The couple of proposals we've already run for libraries, we've seen the rates actually be a little bit lower than this. We've seen the retirement age benefit for somebody making $2,800 be around $5 or $6 a week rather than $8 a week. So as we suggest, if you are going to offer this benefit, we suggest that you not only collect these forms from those that are enrolling, even if you're not going to do a mandatory meeting, we suggest you at least collect these forms from those who intend to waive. A, so it indemnifies you against any employee coming back and saying, hey, I don't remember being offered that coverage, well, you can say, yes, you check mark right here that you wanted to waive coverage. But also, I think it just boosts the education of this product. It makes everybody take a glance at it and see what exactly am I being offered and what am I waiving here. And then at the very bottom, they show you what your total potential benefit would be based on what type of benefit you want to receive, the 2-year, the 5-year, or the benefit all the way to retirement age. So with that, how would you get a quote from SIBO for this product, which again is offered exclusively through our office to members of the OLC? All the information you see here is usually for providing a medical quote. Really, to provide a quote to you, all we need is a census which shows your eligible employees, their years of service, and what their income is, either on an annual, a monthly, or a weekly basis, whatever you have. But those 3 things are the most important. We need to know who they are, what their name is, how many years of service they have under OPERS, how many credible years of service, and then what their income is. And from there, we can run a proposal where we get one rate from Lincoln Financial for all the employees. And then from there, we can also look at customizing those forms so that each employee would have a customized form that they could use to either enroll or to waive. I don't see any questions at the moment. If anybody has any that they want to type in real quick, we'll wait a second. But other than that, that kind of concludes our webinar for today. Again, we think this is just a very, very valuable product. We know that health insurance is the most important insurance coverage that you provide to your employees at the library. We see that dental insurance and vision insurance are all often the most requested when it comes to additional ancillary coverages. We find that long-term disability is the most important. It doesn't matter how good your teeth look or how good your eyeglasses look if you can't afford them if you were to become permanently disabled. And it's very easy to look at this policy as something that only costs a couple of bucks a week, and it's something that, obviously you hope you never want to use, but for those that would ever have to file a claim on this, this is a benefit you just can't put a price on how valuable it's going to be for somebody that would become permanently disabled. So it doesn't look like we have any questions at this time, so feel free to contact myself or Corey or Molly in our office if you do have any further questions, or if you're interested in getting a quote on this product. We can quote this at any time. It can be now. It can be when your medical insurance typically renews. There's no requirements. We have one question here. Sorry if you already said this, but do I need to see if you have more than 50 employees? Now, that was just for health insurance, getting apps and all that. If you have over 50 employees, again, all we need to quote this product for the long-term disability is a census which shows who your employees are, how many years of service they have, and what their salaries are. So that's all we need to provide a quote. We don't need health questionnaires or anything like that. If you have more than 50 or less than 50, it really doesn't matter for this product. That slide was just for more for health insurance quotes. If you are interested in a health insurance quote, please let us know. We do have access to some products and services because of our relationship with the OLC that not everybody out there has access to. We've been moving a lot of libraries to United Healthcare and to Aetna because of some products that we have access to that are exclusive, have limited distribution channels. So with that, I think we'll go ahead and conclude our webinar today. Again, make sure you're staying tuned to our social media and to our website for any upcoming webinars. We expect to have one on wellness concepts very soon. And thank you for participating in today's webinar, and we'll talk to you all soon. Take care and have a great day.